Okay, so the truth is it's a little indulgent, but we're going to do it. It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. Yes, it's time to quote Aaliyah in Timbaland. And also, yes, the 49 SAF pod has been off the air for like a month. I'm so sorry. So here's what happened. We just put a lot of work into Pitchfest 2019. We sort of had a lot to do in order to run that event. And we also did other things at the Accelerate Alaska conference in September. And so in addition to that, in addition to producing a capital fair where attendees could hear about their entrepreneurial support options and financing opportunities, in addition to sourcing great speakers like Bill Learman from Alaska Permanent Capital Management, who talked about the difference between today's recession and the recession of the 80s, in addition to John Knopfsinger from the University of Alaska, how cool is it that we have an endowed chair of international finance who's an expert in behavioral finance and the biases and the biology of investing? We heard from him. And of course, we heard from Angela Rodell of the Alaska Permanent Fund, who talked and revealed the fund's in-state investment strategy. It's managed by two capital managers. Those programs, one is McKinley Capital based out of Anchorage. The other is Barings based out of somewhere on the East Coast. So we kind of did all that. And to some extent, we caught a breather, but right now, my colleague Erin Baca is working her socks off for Alaska Startup Week as the co-chair, and we're just kind of jamming. We're going hard. So sorry we've been offline for a month. Bottom line is we'll be back online. And double bottom line is, okay, that's not fair to say. More on double and triple bottom lines later. But this is a good podcast. We recorded a podcast with some of the Pitchfest participants. Apologies to those who couldn't make it. So on this cast, we hear from Meredith Noble at learngrantwriting.org, Mike Irving at Alaska's Best Shellfish, Chidi Iwuoha of Agent Film School, Candy Fitzpatrick of Rest Angles, Suzanne Swartz, that is a difficult name to say, people, with ApothAKary. And they talk about their businesses. They talk about the hard and the good things about Pitchfest. We also get into whether we should keep doing Pitchfest. Spoiler alert, we're all in for 2020. I think the companies get a lot out of this event, and I think our community does too, so we're all in. And we also talk about whether Alaska needs kind of like a founder to founders group run by founders. Whole lot of ideas here: lead gen, customer development, and awesome people. So let's dive into the podcast. Thank you so much. And more about that song. It's called Try Again. It's always good for entrepreneurs. I know. Here we go. Meredith, tell me about your company. Where are you from? What are you doing?
Hey there. Yes, I'm Meredith Noble. I'm in Valdez. We are teaching people how to be grant writers with online courses. My business name is learngrantwriting.org.
Super cool. Mike Irving, hit us up. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Mike Irving. I have a shellfish farm in the middle of Prince William Sound. It's alaskasbestshellfish.com. You can always reach me. And oysters is my business.
All right. Mr. Chidi Bang Bang, my favorite online name I've ever seen in my life. Tell us who you are and what your company is.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chidi Iwuoha Jr., like Chidi Bang Bang. Basically, we are teaching real estate agents how to make better videos, condensing all the knowledge we've gained in video production over the past few years, growing my video production company and applying that down into real estate and copycatting our own formula we produce for our own clients and helping agents how to do that for themselves with their smartphones.
Love it. And I think we have Candy Fitzpatrick on the line. Candy, tell me about what you're up to and what you're working on.
I'm Candy Fitzpatrick, and my company is Rest Angles LLC. We're based in Cooper Landing, Alaska. Rest Angles is a cleverly designed portable footrest. Congrats on the book launch, Meredith.
Hey, thank you so much. I forgot to mention that. And I also just published a book. Thank you, Candy.
And let's just start there. Let's just dive into Meredith's book, and then we'll kind of go around and talk about what everybody's up to. So Meredith, tell us about your book and why you wrote it and what that experience has been like.
Sure. I wrote the book because I had a free mini course that people are signing up for all the time, and then a online program. And it was a pretty big jump in price to go from free to over a $200 course. And I found that people needed to get to know me and for us to build a bit more of a relationship. And so I thought, hey, the book is the perfect in-between space. And it's proven to be just way more fun than I ever thought possible. I had never self-published a book before, and it has been a super rewarding experience. We already have 55 reviews. They're all 5 stars. And it's climbing the ranks to get up to that #1 bestseller status for grant writing.
Can you remind us of the title of the thing?
You bet. It is How to Write a Grant, Become a Grant Writing Unicorn.
Anyway, one of the questions that I've got for you guys is, how big do you want your business to be? Like, in terms of how much money you're making every year, and feel free to ask each other questions, right? So online right now, we've got Mike, we've got Chidi, we've got Meredith, we've got Sue. Actually, I'm not sure we have Sue. We have Candy. So let's start with Mike. Mike, how big do you want your business to be on an annual revenue sized basis? How big do you think you can make this thing?
The Braveheart, there's 6 farms in my business plan. The Braveheart farm will be about $500,000 a year. There'll be 3 more farms that are about $1 million a year, and another one that's $500,000.
Chidi, tell me about what you think is, how big do you want your company to get?
Super interesting question. So in terms of your direct question, annual revenue, so $360,000 a year is just a number I've had in mind, because thinking like an arbitrary number a lot of people think about, or I had in mind, is people always want to hit 6 figures. I was like, everyone else wants to hit 6 figures, so I want to do something more than that. And I was like, oh, how does $30,000 a month sound? I was like, pretty crazy. That number kind of scared me in my mind. And so that's the goal I've kind of set myself, and breaking that down. It's working with about 120 agents, basically per month, in terms of making around 5 videos for them, plus some course sales.
Okay. We'll go to Meredith again. Meredith, what do you think the annual revenue potential of your work might be?
My conservative estimate is that it's a $500,000 business. There's definitely more entrants coming into this space, and I've participated in their workshops and seen, people are signing up for them. When you're on a workshop and you get that little pop-up button that says, this sale is verified. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I've seen kind of the volume and the rate at which, the number of people showing up to those workshops and how many are converting. So yeah, I think I run a monthly program, and I'm not including the book sales in that. That'd just be the online course. So I think it's safely a $500,000 business.
That's exciting. How long do you think it'll take you to get there?
Hopefully no more than a year.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, Candy, what about you and what about Rest Angles? What do you think the financial potential is?
Well, I kind of figured it out more in units than in actual money, because I don't have my set selling price as of yet. But if I can do $50,000 worth of sales in the first year, which would be about 1,500 units, that would be awesome. We're going to launch next year. So, and then after that, we hope to at least double or 1.5 times our sales each year. And hopefully in less than 5 years, we can meet the $1 million a year rank and just go from there.
Okay, cool. And yes, Suzanne is on the line. So Suzanne, A, tell us about your business. B, go ahead and tell us about the financial potential too. I'm unmuting you, Sue. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Swartz. My company is called ApothAKary. We sell organic skincare products. I pitched a natural bug repellent. I think the financial growth of my company could be infinite because there are bugs and mosquitoes everywhere. I'm currently working on a contract with a retailer in Alaska with 47 stores across the state that I picked up through the Pitchfest. So thank you for providing the opportunity for that. And currently we're looking at putting in the sale of about $6,000 and hopefully with more to come. And I hope to get to 100,000 and 5 years, maybe $1 million.
Wait, so hang on. You found somebody to work with that has 47 stores in Alaska because of Pitchfest? Tell us that story. That's an awesome story. I want to hear it.
I did. I pitched my natural bug repellent, and somebody from Three Bears, co-op convenience store across Alaska that mostly has locations in remote spots, a lot in the valley, expanding out to the peninsula. And they loved the bug repellent. I gave them some samples. It got passed up the chain. I met with them in a face-to-face meeting and presented some other products I had because the bug repellent order isn't until April. And we're currently working out a contract on other products and the potential to set up a test booth sometime in October at the Palmer location. If anyone's going to be there, I believe the third Saturday, the 25th.
Wow, that's cool. So people can find you where?
Hopefully in Three Bears. The bug repellent they'll be able to find in Three Bears this summer.
All right, excellent. That's really, really cool. So let's talk a little bit about Pitchfest. What was the easiest thing and what was the hardest thing? And I'll just leave that question open. Sue, I'm going to run your mute, but and I'll unmute you in a sec, Sue. But what was the easiest or hardest thing? Anybody can take a shot at it.
The hardest thing was pitching.
Yeah, and behind the scenes, what I thought was really interesting about the event was there was an element of authenticity to Mike, you know, when he's rocking clearly the sort of outdoor gear. You could picture Mike on a boat farming oysters instantly. So there's that authenticity that he had. But I think people really fell in love with the business potential too, Mike. And can you give us an idea of some of the challenges that you see with this business? You talked a little bit about the prices that you've seen, the demand from the East Coast, from the central part of the U.S., and what's reality for you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Basically, at least once a week, I have a distributor get a hold of me. I just finished with a guy they're the Alaska guys, actually out of Anchorage, but they're based in Singapore. And an outfit out of Spain that wants me to grow cockles. The problem isn't demand. The problem's the $48,300 an acre it costs to scale a farm, and then a farm produces about $60,000 an acre per year, and your cages that you scale the farm with are good for about 7 years. So there's some, it takes 2 to 3 years to permit a farm, and a lot of paperwork to push. I would much rather be out on the boat. There's no doubt about it, but this is kind of where I got to be.
Right on. So how about you, Candy? You've been doing this stuff a while with us. What was the best thing? What was the hardest thing about Pitchfest?
Okay, so the easiest part I thought about Pitchfest is taking part in it. You guys make it really easy to sign up and take the pre-pitch courses, which are really valuable. And the hardest part, I suppose, is setting aside time to take part in the whole program, the Accelerate Alaska, in this case, program. Time is very valuable. So just setting aside the time to do that and to network, super important aspects of having a business. I would say that was the hardest part for me.
Let me ask a question. We've kicked around some ways to improve Pitchfest, and most of you folks made it out to the I mean, we refer to it as an after party. And it was kind of like after Pitchfest, after Accelerate Alaska, people gather typically at some sort of establishment. This time it was at the Whale's Tail and the Captain Cook. And we announced the winner. We're thinking of just holding Pitchfest there next year. What are your thoughts on that?
This is Suzanne. And I, although it's a good idea, I think I like the professional atmosphere of having it at the auditorium at the end of the 2-day conference. I mean, I like that room, that environment. It kind of just stepped it up a class. I think that would be taken away from it it was held at a bar.
Okay, fair enough. Meredith, what's your take?
I concur. In fact, I wish that it was even in the room, the other room at the library that had the stage, because it really puts that extra pressure on us, which is a good learning opportunity of speaking well under what feels like pressure, I suppose.
Wow, man, I tell you what. So we had a call, the organizers had a call and we're like, yeah, that room is just way too big. It's way too tough. We shouldn't be doing it in the assembly chambers. So how about you guys do me a favor? Would each of you give me, and feel free to build on each other's points, could you provide one thing you would like us to do differently or better for Pitchfest? A top tip, something you'd like to see that's different for Pitchfest in 2020.
Well, this is Candy, and I'd say that more categories maybe for Pitchfest, and that having pitched before 5 times, if 5 Alaskans have heard your pitch before, doesn't really make you an expert to go into the higher up category, especially if they have no sales. And just maybe more categories if it's going to be more like related on how many sales your business has, or if you're brand spanking new or somewhere in the middle. I don't know, maybe more categories and judging criteria to be more clear to both the judges and the participants. Maybe that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, that's a good point. We can put out the criteria to the participants. We put out criteria to the judges, but we didn't communicate it well to the participants. And then what do you guys think if we just blow up categories? Like we just have everybody, there's one category and the top 3 vote winners, top 3 scorers get it. What's your take on that?
I think that's a great idea.
This is Suzanne. I have a suggestion for improvement on next time is perhaps during the announcing of the winners, it would be nice to hear from the judges on what they liked and kind of why they went that way. So for preparing for future presentations, you could get some feedback on kind of like, oh, so that's what they were looking for. Okay, I got it. You know, more of a, rather than winner, winner, winner.
Okay.
Wonder why.
That sounds good. That's all possible. What else? How else can we improve your lives?
Maybe just something in terms of like business developments, and you guys seem like you guys are working out with startups. You guys are probably the pros at, kind of just growing. And I think right now I'm kind of struggling with kind of just having a real solid game plan on what to do next. There's a lot of things to do, starting business, and I know how to do video, but starting kind of scaling this online educational tool and stuff, there's a lot of different steps to take and routes to go with it. So maybe just having some kind of advisor that sits you down, just a rough game plan, like, hey, good pitch, now here's what we think you should do. Here's a couple next steps to kind of keep you growing. I think that'd be sweet.
Well, let's talk about next steps for businesses. And
sure.
And I've got, I really appreciate your feedback, folks. And what's really interesting is, boy, did you put a crimp in our plans to move out of the Anchorage Assembly or the Wilda Marston theater. It's really funny. It's really funny. Okay. So like every business typically, no matter where they are, maybe as they become maybe as they go beyond $20 million in annual revenue, it's different. But most businesses have kind of like one core thing, one core hurdle they're working on, right? This is even for, profitable companies that are scaling. What is your one thing? What is your one next step that you're focused on right now? And so that we'll start with Chidi, and we'll just go around, and you guys can ask each other questions too. So Chidi, tell me, what's your first thing, man?
Yeah, so busy kind of condensing this down into video tours and just specializing in that, I guess, and that we're going to teach agents how to do these video tours and forget really everything else that has to do with that. And so around that, kind of finding out the pain points in those tours, going to be doing some actual trainings. Actually, this weekend, I'll train my first agent, teaching another workshop class next week, and kind of gathering information, pain points. And then I wanted to put together a lead magnet. And then I had advice from someone who's a marketer. After telling them the idea, they were basically like, he believes in it so much, he'd be willing to put his own ad spend behind it and fund that, and run ads with some kind of lead magnet, like an ebook or a mini course, and see if that converts first, before like actually building out the full course and scaling that. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I guess that's my next step, is just building that lead magnet so we can kind of go out and actually test the online kind of market.
Okay, really interesting. Who wants to go next? Who's going to tell me about their one thing that they're working on? Sounds like it's Mike, Meredith, then Sue. So Mike, Meredith, then Sue. Do it.
All righty. I'm in a little bit of the hurry up and wait mode. I had a shoulder surgery here at the start of June or end of May, and kind of limited to 2 pounds till November and 5 pounds till December. But I probably have between $90,000 and $150,000 oysters to market this year, depending on where they go. But it still won't be enough to scale the farm. And there's just a huge opportunity right now with this drought in the Midwest. And I'd just like to be scaled up and just stay ahead of the wave, and stay ahead of the wave in Alaska too. So right now I'm working on permitting, and like through this Accelerate Alaska, I met a lobbyist and maybe trying to get a few rules changed, and that's where I'm at. The biggest hurdle is the office for me.
Okay. Meredith, you were saying?
Hi. Yes, so I am working on relaunching my online courses. So I've been doing a ton of customer interviews this week and last, and they're so addicting. It has given me all of the breakthrough knowledge I needed to really reformulate how I was teaching grant writing so people get results as fast as possible. It has been super fun. I have Post-its all over my house right now.
I want to stay on this point for a while, because this is always one of my favorite things to talk about and think about. And I think too often entrepreneurs don't do this step. And then they build something that the market doesn't want. So Meredith, tell us about how you're doing these customer interviews and what you're learning and why it's important.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things where I knew better too, but I really wasn't making the time to do it. I was making a lot of assumptions, and I have found so many of my assumptions, if not pretty much all of them, were wrong, even though I do know my topic very well. So I have structured it such that anybody that signs up for my lead magnet, I send them directly an email saying, hey, can we have a 20-minute call? I sent that out to my book launch team email list, which is about 150 people, and then my existing email list, and just gave away my book as a digital copy in gratitude. So they were getting something for giving me some time. And I used Schedule Once to set up these interviews, which made it super easy. So people are just automatically scheduling them. I blocked out only for 2 weeks when these would happen. And let's see. So then I have this blank Google Doc with 3 pages worth of questions, and I don't go through all of them with everybody. A lot of times if I hit on something good, I'll just kind of keep running that out. But I'd say, the things that are most pivotal about how I'm relaunching are all ideas given to me by current customers or prospective ones. So it has been game changing.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And the whole concept.
Real quick, do you mind if I ask Meredith a follow-up question? Is that cool?
Do it.
Sorry.
Do it.
Yeah. So, hey Meredith. So, if you could, kind of outline a couple steps to how you went about, because it seems like you're like kind of far. We're kind of in similar kind of online educational product world. So, I'm kind of just curious your basic. Where you started with all of it, because at first I was just gonna go and build a course and then try to sell it, but it seems like everyone's been telling me you need to find your audience first, find out what they're struggling first, and then build something to match that. So if you could just break down kind of what steps you followed to do that, that'd be awesome.
You bet. So the number one mistake I made was I built out 3 courses and I put everything I know in them, and I put a ton of time into it. And it is all good information and will get repurposed for YouTube videos, but it's too much. And I'm basically at the point where now that I've done all these actual customer interviews, I realize, no, I'm just throwing it out and restarting because I gave them everything and it's too much. I had to find out how much time do you actually have to spend per week on online learning? Where are you learning? Little things like I need my entire course to be a downloadable audio file so people can listen to that kind of podcast style while they're commuting and then get into the coursework when they're home. All of these little nuggets along the way. So I would say the process that I take is this. I figured out when I wanted to launch. So you've got the end in mind, picked a date, worked backwards from there. Then I'm having all these customer interviews. I figured out what my course promise is, like what are the results that I'm going to get people. I'm outlining the course right now, which is its own process. I'll be rebuilding it next week and the week after. And then soft launching, sort of like what I did with my book, which was so valuable because then, customers that are willing to allow you to make some mistakes and they're going to kind of come along in this early relaunch of the program. I'm going to use a webinar for selling the course and have it just be opened and closed during a certain period instead of having it be available ongoing and anyone can go and buy into it. So it's a total rehaul. And I'm using actually Amy Porterfield's Digital Course Academy program to go through this. It's like a 10-week program, and it's been really, really worth it to get, even though I know all this stuff, it's helping me actually have some structure to my approach. That was
Thanks
a long
for that.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I have a bunch more questions, but we'll connect after this.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and feel free to build on each other's points, guys. We'll go another 20 minutes and just catch up and talk. So we were going to go to Sue and then Candy about the next step for your business or that big hurdle that you're trying to jump over. Sue, what is that big hurdle and what is that one thing you're working on right now?
My next step is trying to make a cost-efficient production system for my bug repellent so I can maximize my profits and also get the best pricing for my customers while maintaining the same quality. My biggest hurdle is shipping. I'm trying to reduce that by getting bulk orders in, pitching other products so I can, order them all together and get, discounts. And also, marketing is not my strongest suit. Coming up with the end cap display that's appeasing the customers. Usually it was me at a market, just, hey, you, come over, try this. Let's actually set up an end display to make customers set up that are low cost that I can put all over Alaska. Marketing is not my strong suit. My strong suit is 10 years in corporate finance, taxes, setting up businesses. I have the numbers part. It's more of the presentation. And I think maybe good suggestion for the follow-up to the Pitchfest is to have, for whoever you want to, meet up once a month for coffee and just kind of talk and network and kind of connect with our peers. It's kind of good to build on people. Going from working in a big office to starting your own business, you can get a little, lonely. So just being able to go talk with your peers, maybe someone's good at marketing or someone's good at video, someone's good at web design, or if anyone needs help on, setting up business, let me know. But just kind of using our skills to kind of grow together.
Yeah, I'm just processing that. That's a need. It's hard in that your number one job is to build your business. But I would agree that there's some aspect of a cohort and shared experience that's beneficial, like the conversation that Chidi and Meredith just had and that we all listened to, right? Like thinking about customer development, knowing that Meredith's doing it, and then knowing specifically not only is customer development important, but if you have an online learning product, there's a certain way to do it. Yeah, that's super valuable. But it's hard because Meredith's number one job is to build her business, and that's tough. But it's certainly something to think about. I was hoping that there's some way that this is happening in the community, but it doesn't sound like that's the case, or it sounds like it's just hard to figure out. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe there should be
it is happening in the community, which gave me the idea. I met someone from the Chamber of Commerce through that 2-day event and went to a couple of their lunch networking events, which have been awesome. I went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting and joined the Young Professional group. And it was just, meeting up for like an hour a month. It's amazing what you get out of it. Whoever wants to join, one person, two, just to shoot around ideas. So there is one going on in the community. I just feel like going through this experience together and all having different skills and knowing each other face to face, if anyone wants to connect, maybe we can do a follow-up group or something. I'd like to keep in contact, I guess.
Totally, and let us know how we can help facilitate that too. There's potential there, and I agree, and I see it. Ms. Candy, gosh, what's the dragon you're trying to slay? If I can nerd out and use nerd parlance.
I am currently, I finished my alpha testing with a group of alpha testers this summer, and I've been trying to get my beta testing off the ground. I am including like my packaging, which includes a reusable bag and a box with my branding on it. So all of that stuff coming together, as well as the actual units themselves. And it's a lot to put together all at one time, but I'm glad that I'm doing it now because it needs to be done. And as much as can be, the beta testers will have as much as they have part of the finished product, which is up to like 95% done, maybe 90% done when they have it in their hands. But the biggest hurdle I'm trying to get over right now for the beta testing is getting my Rest Angles units made. And I am doing that in Alaska, in Fairbanks, with a company who has their own projects going on, and they are helping me. I pay them, but they're helping me as a favor to a fellow inventor. So our stuff is kind of in the queue after their stuff. And so I wanted to be doing my beta testing in October, but the units are probably not going to be made until the end of October. So now my beta testing phase is moving, and I want to launch my product at a trade show in March. So I'm getting a little bit nervous on the timeline, and I am a pretty patient person, and I'm just trying to remember that I'm a patient person. And it's going to be great when it happens, but that's the hurdle I have, and beta testing is next, like Meredith was talking about. It's really important to get the feedback. Some things that I didn't realize were found out in the alpha testing part that we changed our design a little bit for. It's invaluable to have the information from who will be your customers. And I'm looking forward to the beta testing, and I want it to actually happen sooner rather than later. So,
all right. So let me ask you guys a couple more questions. So I've got a list of things for Pitchfest. One is like, do you think the coaching thing was effective or ineffective? Did you take advantage of it? Did you not have time to take advantage of it? Were the webinars good? Is there too much webinar? Because we did, I think this year we did two things. One is we had two webinars that kind of covered pitching before the application deadline. And then we assigned every finalist a coach that they could use at their option. Too much technical assistance, not enough? Tell me your thoughts.
Hi, this is Suzanne. Just because I thought it was perfect. Meeting up with you one-on-one for a coffee and connect and just kind of to talk it through, then give me a couple days to kind of give a pre-presentation and get feedback from the group. The coaching was, I think, the best part. You did amazing, Joe. Thank you so much.
Oh, by the way, I slipped her a 20 before we had this call. So,
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I slipped her a 50. You're right. Anyway, but what about the rest of you guys think? I mean, was there kind of too much prep, not enough prep?
I think it was pretty solid. It seemed like nothing was too structured or rigid. I'm pretty sure we're all pretty busy. So, I mean, if we needed more help, I think you guys gave us enough resources to take you up on those, like the optional call and practice times. And then if we kind of were self-guided and had it under control, we could just kind of do our thing and show up and pitch, and I think that was kind of more on the route, but it was good to have those options if we needed more help.
Cool. I'm sorry. I heard you were trying to speak, Candy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I always try to make time for all the free training that I can because it's free and it's good. And it's the movers and the shakers of the startup community in all of Alaska that are putting them on, and everyone has their different style, and you learn something different from everyone that puts them on. And I really appreciate those pre-conference calls that you do, Joe and Aaron and everyone else that takes part in that. And it's crazy that more people don't take advantage of those programs. I'm always a little surprised that there's not more people on the call or in the room. So I appreciate those.
Yeah, I think so. I think some of that has been our marketing. The truth is the 49 SAF is a really it's a bit of a complicated financial animal when you look at what we do financially, right? Like I don't invest in a business. I invest in a fund that then is very selective and goes out and invests in a certain kind of business. And we've created 9 of those funds. So most of our marketing stakeholders haven't really been startups in a long time. It's been a financial discussion. Some of that's changing. We've got a product for entrepreneurial ecosystem builders called All Call, where people can talk about the various accelerators and programs and incubators and teaching courses that they're doing for entrepreneurship. We do a quarterly lunch. So the next one will be during Alaska Startup Week. And the intent of that is to mash investors up with startups in a very low key, nobody has any stress situation. It's just a $10 lunch. So hopefully anybody can go. We do that once a quarter. But that means we're doing, 8 things, 8 of those products a year. And then we do Pitchfest, which is more entrepreneurially focused, and it is hyper early stage focused. And, we talked about, should we still do Pitchfest? And I think people generally think we should. Is anybody on this call? We've got Mike, we've got Chidi, we've got Sue, we've got Meredith, we've got Candy. Are you guys all 100% going forward with your businesses, or at least giving it a shot? Is anybody just going to bail out? Chidi, I see you talking.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, we're making this come to life for sure. A year from now, I'll check back in, see what we built. Meredith too. We were just talking in an email real quick. We're on the way up.
And I can't imagine not going forward. You wouldn't put this much effort into it to quit. Would be just beyond me. It's the distance runner in me, I guess.
I definitely think you should keep doing it. I wasn't sure what to do after all my farmers markets headed for the summer, and this opportunity came up, and it gave me the boost and the step and the confidence, the professionalism, and the guidance to now have my product in 47 stores in Alaska, which is something I never thought would happen without it. So I think you should definitely keep doing it. It gives little people a chance.
Yeah, and this is Candy, and congratulations, Suzanne. That's a really big deal. And I think you definitely should still be doing the pitch fests and maybe sweeten the prizes a bit, if that's possible. And I'm 100% Rest Angles LLC is my life, so I'm going for it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep going, and that's for sure. I think like any business, we need to analyze what we do and whether it's of value to the market, but it sounds like it's of value to the market. We will be in touch with everybody from Pitchfest. I wonder if it's a little disruptive, but I think I'm going to send an email out sometime next week, and I'm going to email everybody involved in Pitchfest for the last 2 years. And I'm going to say that, so Suzanne suggested a monthly meetup, right? And whether that's for the 8 of you, the 9 of you, or the 20 of you who have done Pitchfest in the last few years. And some of those folks are really advanced. The guy who won Pitchfest last year is on his 3rd or 4th company. So there's a lot to learn from him. And maybe an online meetup is the right way to do it, because I think he's in Oregon a lot, and we've talked to people from Seward today, from Valdez, from all over. Would that be valuable? Should we take a shot at that, or is that just too much?
I'd be down. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
I think real quick more on that, it'd be cool to have it kind of structured. Maybe you could have a section where it's like a Q&A for some of the more advanced people, like you're saying, but then also like a check-in, and maybe we sit down and kind of each set goals for ourselves for the next, to accomplish in the next 60, 90 days or whatever, kind of keep us accountable.
Yeah, I agree. Being a self-starter, it's nice to have accountability to something, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, I think it's great too, because having your own business in your home is kind of lonely.
Yeah, that is, hey, there's geeking out. There's a lot of research on entrepreneurs and what's called what's it called? It's called ApothAKary. It's actually called ApothAKary. So the idea is something like Pitchfest happens and then there's nothing after it, right? And so that's and it is a lonely road. It can be a really lonely road, right? And yet none of us build anything of value without anybody else. Entrepreneurship is a 100% team sport. Even if you're creating a single proprietorship, it's still a team sport.
Yes, I agree.
So now okay, that's cool. So we have outcomes from this call. One is that I would just suggest that when I send this email that and I'm processing here, I would just suggest that it's cohort led, that the people who participated in Pitchfest kind of take the lead and just say to the 49 SAF, this is what we need from you. We could host the online call, we could use this platform, we could keep minutes, create an agenda, we could be your backbone, but it's you driving it, right? It's entrepreneur led, which is important. The second thing is, and this is the borderline, even more important, yes, we'll keep doing Pitchfest. So that's not a question. Pitchfest 2020 is happening and we'll be way ahead of it. The third thing is, signing off, you need to tell me what cheesy music you love and listen to. All right. And I'm asking Meredith Noble this question right now. Meredith, I want you to tell me your cheesiest pop music that you love.
Well, you're putting me on the spot, and I don't know what to answer because I don't know the names of songs. I listen to them all. What have I been doing today? Gabby Palco is this local Valdez gal. What are you throwing your pen down for?
I'm throwing my pen down because I want to hear names like Justin Bieber or girl groups. You can't give me a hip, cool, alternative person in Valdez. That's too cool, Meredith Noble.
It's not. I no answer then. Pass. Not sure.
Pass. Oh, you're killing me. All right. Chidi, what do you got that's cheesy?
Hey, so on the way to ApothAKary, it's not cheesy. It's just a classic. I was listening to Hey on the way over here, just jamming out. You know, it's gold. Gets me in the right mood every time.
It is not cheesy. It is not the all-girl group female band called Little Mix from the United Kingdom. Yes, that might be what I'm looking for, Chidi. All right. I see Candy's piping up. Candy, what do you got for me?
I don't know that this is the kind of answer you're looking for, but because my left brain is so busy with learning stuff every day, I have to have a right brain outlet. So I've been teaching myself how to play the keyboard. And my chosen song of late is the theme music from Downton Abbey.
Holy cow, that's a really complicated piece. Everybody on this
There's
call
the easy version.
Everybody on this call is way more smart and talented than me. All right. Suzanne, come on, give me some cheese, Suzanne.
Driving down to the peninsula and being tired, waiting through all those fires. The only thing that kept me awake was NSYNC.
NSYNC, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And
I got the NSYNC radio. I mean, they throw in Britney Spears, but man, they're fun to sing too.
Yeah, no, yeah. And pretty soon we're going to say bye.
Bye.
Mike, tell us the truth. What do you got for me, man?
You realize I am a cowboy, right?
All right.
I was born and raised that. I could go George Strait, I guess. Pop music, I don't know.
You guys all have impeccable taste. Thank you for your time. I also want to say thank you so much for participating in Pitchfest. It's not easy. I think that people overlook how hard it can be to get up there and talk about what you want to build and open yourself up to that criticism. Thanks to all of you. Gotta go. Joe Morrison calling it. See you guys.